Welcome to part 6 of Forms in Flubaroo, where we're going to introduce you to the Flubaroo script and help you set it up. Now we're going to learn about where did your responses go when your students took that quiz that you gave them, and what you can do with them with Flubaroo, a script in Google Spreadsheets to be able to grade them and send those grades back to the students. Here's a couple of things of note. We've already created our quiz and students have started to take that. How do I know that? That's because right up here it says responses. I have 2 of them. So students are starting to respond to my quiz. But let's say I had multiple hours, and in between those hours I don't want my students to be able to get to that quiz. What I can do is hit this little accepting responses button, and that will turn off the ability for students to take the quiz. In between classes or in between units or whatever, you can just open it up between certain times for yourself if you want to do that. And once you want to accept responses again, all you have to do is click that button again, and now you're back to accepting responses. So you could do that in between class periods, as I said, or you could do that, just open it up during that unit or however you want to do that. So there are 2 students who have responded so far, but now I've got to find out where those responses went. And that's where this choose response destination comes into play. If I click that, it's automatically going to create me a new spreadsheet with the name of the form that I have. I can change that if I want or put it into a different spreadsheet, but generally this is the easiest way to do this. And you do want to put it into a spreadsheet, so I'm going to hit create. And it's going to set that spreadsheet up for me. You can see that it's working. And once the spreadsheet's set up, if I click that, it's going to take me to a spreadsheet with my responses. There's a timestamp, and then you can see the names of all my questions and the answers of my students. Now, I took this one because I wanted to make sure the answers were correct, and that's in how I'm going to judge all the other answers that my students give later on in Flubaroo. Once you've figured out where your responses are and all your students have taken everything, it's time to grade it. The way we're going to do that is we're going to go into Tools. Underneath Tools, we're going to go to the Script Gallery. And once that's loaded up, the easiest way to find Flubaroo is just to search for it. And you can see here that Flubaroo, there's 2 things that come up, but Flubaroo is the one we want. It's version 3.1 right now. That'll obviously change as it's updated. And I'm going to click Install. And this is going to install this script. It's like a little program that runs on your spreadsheet, allowing you to grade things quickly. So I'm going to click Install. And when it's finished installing, it's going to tell me that this app needs authorization to run. So I'm going to have to hit Continue. It's going to take me into this other screen, and I'm going to have to hit Accept here. And you can choose to read all those permissions if you want or not. In this case, we know it's pretty safe. So Flubaroo is now installed. It tells me that, and I can close this window. And you can see now, before there was nothing here next to Help. It was just Form, Help, and nothing. And now a new tab has appeared called Flubaroo. And that's where we're going to click to set up the grading script. So once you click that, you're going to get a couple different things. You can set the language if you live in a different part of the world or learn about Flubaroo, but we're going to grade the assignment. And a new pop-up window is going to come up. You can see that it tells you when things are running up here. And then Flubaroo is going to look through this, and it's going to try to identify things. It's going to say, hey, these 2 things identify the student. Is that correct? And you can, if you wanted to make your students get a grade for putting their name in there correctly, you could give them a point for that. Or you could skip grading, or just say this identifies a student. The email address identifies a student. But now as we go through this, you can see, how could I make my tutorial better? That was the first question. I can give that a grade, or I can skip grading. Because that's a long form answer and it's something I'm going to have to go back over and decide if they get points for or not, I'm probably going to skip the grading of that. Or I could say if they just gave me an answer, I'm going to give them a point for it. I can do that too. But for now, I'm going to skip the grading on that one. And then the rest of these are all things, except for the rating piece, that would give points. And then what I want to do here is for this rate one, I'm going to skip the grading for that one because it's not something I want to grade. And then you'll notice that grid that we created actually created separate questions for each one of those things. And I'm going to give a point for each one of those, and I'm going to continue. On the next screen, you're going to see all the answers that have been submitted thus far. And we need to choose an answer key. So that's part 2. Now, I know my answers are correct, but if you knew that a certain student got 100% on the quiz, you could use them to grade against everybody else, however you want to do that. But I'm going to use myself and click Continue. And now Flubaroo is going to be creating a grading section for all this stuff. Okay, it's going to do a number of different things. You can see it says it's completed, a new worksheet called grades has been created. So down here underneath my spreadsheet, there's going to be a couple of things. There's now a new tab here underneath my grades that says here's a student submission. So that's the original form. And then now there's a grades tab, and that's the one I'm on right now. And inside that, you can see all the answers that were given by the other students right now, okay? Because it was graded against mine, so my answers are not in there. And you can see that Bob, who's also me, but a different email address, scored 1 total point. He only got 14.28%. He submitted 1 time. I haven't emailed the grade yet. I didn't grade that question, right? And then everything else, if you got it right, there's a 1. If you got it wrong, there's a 0. And you can go all the way over to the end of that, okay? And so that's how you grade your quizzes within Flubaroo. So if you don't want to do any more than that, that's as simple as it is. The quizzes are graded and you're done. You don't have to do anything else. That's the end of part 6 of Forms in Flubaroo. Now you know how to create a quiz using forms, grade it 1 time using Flubaroo, and in the next tutorial, we're going to show you how you can use even more tools within the Flubaroo script to grade it multiple times and send custom feedback to your students.